The Plank, presented by Ram, starts now.
To beat a good football team, you have to play good football. We didn't play good football today. Normally, when you don't play good football against a very good football team at home, you lose.
Well, certainly a disappointing head coach in Lovie Smith as the Buccaneers lost to the Colts yesterday 25-12. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of The Plank. I'm Tom Corin. John Sable is up north enjoying what's left of the holiday weekend with his family. So former Buccaneer offensive lineman Ian Beckle was kind enough to fill in this week. I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to say. First, I got a little business here. Connect with us, folks, using Twitter. Join the conversation using hashtag The Plank. You can also tweet us at tcorin, WFTS. I prefer the calls at 813-878-2888. All right, let's get right into the Plank Report presented by Ram. Ian, what's your take on this game yesterday?
Well, the Buccaneers going to that game at 5-5. I think a lot of people were kind of premature talking about the playoffs, to be honest with you, because when you go 5-5, you got to go 5-1 the rest of the year to go to the playoffs. So that's probably not going to happen. And we saw yesterday what they are. They're a team that they don't do too many things consistently. They don't rush the passer well. We let a 40-something-year-old quarterback throw the ball 46 times. He should be on a stretcher today, okay? And on the other end of the spectrum, the Colts had 14 sacks all year and sacked Jameis Winston 5 times, so that's bad football. And one of our best players this year is Doug Martin, and really when we win, Doug Martin goes off, and 14 touches is not enough. I mean, we won't win a game that Doug Martin has 14 touches. And if we don't get the ball turned over, we don't get the ball, we're just not good enough or talented enough to win.
This is what surprised me is that despite the fact the Buccaneers went down when the Colts scored 10 points because of 2 lousy 3-and-outs by the offense, why did they not run Doug Martin all but twice in that second half? I don't get it.
Well, I thought Dirk Cutter's really done a pretty good job this year of kind of, molding him into of a personality, okay? We have to run the ball, okay? We have a young offensive lineman, and that's good for a young quarterback as well. I'm on your side. To me, we had to outrush that team by 200 yards maybe to win that game. And there was opportunity to keep on running the ball, and we didn't. So, hopefully they learn from that. But that's a very winnable game that we left on that field yesterday.
All right, you beat a former offensive lineman. One of the big plays early on that defined a situation for the Bucs where they ended up with a missed field goal, 54 yards versus a touchdown, is Pamphil's holding call.
Yeah.
That's just, those are just, not only do they produce penalties, but at the most inopportune times.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. The Bucs being the most penalized team in all of football, and they still have 12 more penalties. Once again, you're not going to win those games. I thought the Pamphil hold was a little ticky-tack, okay? I mean, you can call it. I wouldn't call it in that situation. But there was still opportunity out there for the Buccaneers to win that game. The drop by Mike Evans. I have a bunch of people at my house on Sunday to watch the game, and Michael Clayton was at my house. And he brought up something that I never really thought about. Mike Evans let that ball come into his body. A great receiver goes up at the highest point and goes and gets the ball. So that's something that, Mike Evans is going to have to learn as he goes along. And he's one of our biggest weapons, but he also has a whole lot of drops this year.
He does have a lot of drops. And do you think that, I look at Mike doesn't really get much separation.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, and I think that contributes to his problems with his drops. Now, he's had some that have been wide open, but that one yesterday, there was no separation. That ball basically went through 4 arms. But as Michael said, you got to go up and get it.
Yeah.
Evans did not. You think that has something to do with Evans' inconsistencies?
Well, I think he's still trying to catch up. As a guy who played 9 years, when you get hurt in the preseason, you miss a couple of the first games, you're kind of catching up with your wind and getting yourself into shape. So I don't know if he's in great shape. And like I said, he's had a lot of drops this year. And unfortunately, when you look at Vincent Jackson, you look at Mike Evans, I think they're both great receivers, but they're really both the same receiver. Big physical guys that can go up there and overwhelm a defensive back. But who was our Deshaun Jackson? Who was our guy who is a Victor Cruz who can catch a slant and go 80 yards. We don't have that. So with a young quarterback, it's hard to methodically, drive down the field, and especially with all the penalties that we're getting, all of a sudden you have a 1st and 10, then you have a 1st and 15 or 1st and 20, and we're not good enough to overcome that. So we still have a long way to go on both sides of the ball.
Well, the thing now is that, the Buccaneers, you look at what they've got and what their problems are and where their deficiencies are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, number one, offensively, they don't have that breakaway receiver.
Correct.
Plus, they don't have that breakaway back. But you got a theory on that. I just think that if Doug Martin had the speed, they'd have 2 more wins.
Well, I just don't think that running back exists anymore. I mean, other than Adrian Peterson, who could take it 80 yards, I can't think of any other running backs that really do it anymore. So, to me, Doug Martin's been the best player that we have. And I'm not usually the guy that wants a running back to get paid, because I think they come a dime a dozen and they don't last anymore. I think the Buccaneers need to re-sign Doug Martin just for the feel, okay? Because all I hear is Doug Martin is the hardest worker in practice. He goes 110 in practice, and those kind of things rub off on some other young players. So you need that feel in the locker room. So maybe the Glazers need to say, let's sign this guy just to make things look good, because it doesn't look great right now.
Okay, let's take a look at some of these stats we pulled up here. Winston's numbers, 20 of 36, 245, 1 TD. 1 late interception, which really doesn't count, except in the stats.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Hasselbeck, 26 of 42, 315 yards, 2 TDs. Guy's 40 years old,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, he's smart, he's experienced, and he took advantage of what I thought was still a defense, Ian, that I see confusion.
Mm-hmm.
I do see confusion out there, and I could just tell because they're stopping thinking. They keep turning, and I saw that yesterday. And it bothered me. And then Doug Martin, well, we chronologized that one. 14 carries, 97, 2 in the second half. Don't understand that one, which brings me to when they came out in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 2 3 and outs. They tried Doug, then they go to a couple of passes. They come back. It was just a calamity.
Yeah, there was no rhythm to anything going on both sides of the ball. And I think people like to evaluate quarterbacks from what they see on TV and sometimes fantasy football, okay? Mm-hmm. And people say, how do you think Jameis played? And to me, you can't evaluate a quarterback until you sit in the meeting room and find out what his progression is, okay? It's easy to say that was a great throw, but we don't know if the first guy in the progression wasn't wide open. So I think Jameis is learning. A lot of people say he's doing great for a rookie. Well, no, I started 16 games as a rookie, and nobody ever said you played great as a rookie. You're just a quarterback, or you're just a right guard, okay? So forget about him being a rookie. He's in the NFL. Now, I think Jameis is the truth, okay? Because I've never seen a rookie quarterback come in there in a locker room and command it like that. I've never seen that before. And to me, for a team that has been saying it's Gerald McCoy's team for years, this is Jameis Winston's team. And I think as long as he stays healthy, it's going to be Jameis Winston's team.
All right, we've got Jim from Newport Richie on the line. Jim, welcome to the show. What you got?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Okay, Ian doesn't have an IFB on, but I'll transpose the question to him.
Okay, cool. Glad to see Ian on here. Makes adds a little something to the show. Miss John, but Ian's cool. The penalties need to stop. There's something that we need to do. I don't know, Lovey, something. Penalties where we're having touchdowns taken away because of it. And I know you were just talking about, I kind of missed it, but why did they give up on running Doug Martin? I mean, the guy's just, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he gets it done. I don't get it. What do you think?
Well, yeah, we were touching on that. Mm-hmm. All I can think of is that Dirk figured that, and I thought that Indianapolis' secondary was suspect to start the game. Mm-hmm. So I think I got an idea where Dirk was coming from. But unfortunately, they just, they played between the 20s and never could get anything going in the red zone.
14 carries for Doug Martin? That doesn't make sense, right. Okay? And you're right. I mean, they're susceptible to the pass, but we gotta, soften them up a little bit as they go. And to me, the unfortunate part is, I thought we kind of took a step forward in a lot of different things, and we took a step back yesterday. And just the attitude in general, I didn't feel any electricity out there. We don't have a closer. Like, you look at some other teams and they have a guy that just everybody's drawn to, and our guy's a rookie. And that's almost impossible to do because he's trying to learn the game. Who's our closer on defense? Who do we have that closes when we need a big play? Where is he? And right now we have every quarterback, whether we're on the road or at home, they're comfortable. The quarterbacks are comfortable all the time.
Yeah, I can ask you this. I never played on the professional level, never played on the college level, just on that Kitty Land High School stuff. You know, we come out at halftime and try to decipher, you know, what makes a team come out as flat as the Buccaneers really came out in that second half. I don't know what it's like on a professional level, how men sit there and try to get themselves jacked up to come out in the second half. What goes wrong there? What's the differentiation between a team that comes out hot, like the Colts did, or a team that comes out flat like the Bucs yesterday?
Well, I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, I played for 9 years, and I don't really care what the coach says at halftime. I'm coming out, and I got to be amped up. I mean, you got to get a bunch of amped up guys. I mean, if you remember back in the day when the Buccaneers were, you know, the team in the late 90s and the early 2000s, we had Warren Sapp skipping through people's warm-ups, okay? That's an attitude. So if your leaders on your team are nice guys, you're going to have a nice attitude. You know, Ray Lewis wasn't a nice guy, you see what I'm saying? And everybody gravitated to that. I mean, we need a bad dude on defense. We have some good football players here and there, but our attitude is missing in me. Offensively, I see the offensive linemen doing some mean things now, which I hadn't seen in a long time, but they were put in a very tough situation yesterday because they threw the ball so many times.
Yeah, and do we underestimate Indianapolis in any way, shape, or form? I thought that they were, as I call them, a mediocre team in the league, as I think the Bucs. I think they were in the same class, which was a winnable game for both. Were we wrong here?
Yes.
Is Hasselbeck the difference? And does that cause a situation in Indianapolis with luck?
Well, I don't know if anybody beats the Buccaneers and pounds their chest.
Yeah,
okay, you know what I'm saying? Because
you know
we're talking about a team that had 14 sacks all year, and then they had 5 sacks. So that's not what they are. You know, it's one of those things where we've been lucky at 5-5 to really play against a backup quarterback almost every week. Okay, and it's still going. So, you know, if all these teams were full strength, we might know exactly how good or how bad we are. So 5-5 is a great record. I think Lovie Smith has taken us in the right direction, but we still need to improve in just about every position on the field.
All right, listen, I want to thank you for stopping by, man. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, brother.
I enjoyed it. I'd like to get your perspective. Okay, you know, every week we have somebody walk the plank, and we want to hear from you. So make your suggestions by tweeting us with hashtag #ThePlank. And you can also connect with us by tweeting us at TCorin, WFTS, or call us at 878-2888, area code 813. Okay, we're going to be right back with more coming up here. Stephen Holder from the Indianapolis Star. You might remember him from the Tampa Bay Times. He joins us as we get the story from the other side of the sideline. We'll be right back.